Can you still hear me, by the way? I think you can, huh?
Yes.
And I can hear you. Can I talk? Okay, good. I got you muted now. All right, right on. Just in case. Welcome to the Dan Dillman Live Podcast, where the mysteries of the past intersect with the innovations of today. I'm your host, Dan Dillman, exploring everything from lost treasures and ancient secrets to unexplained phenomena that captivate our imagination. So, tune in, relax, and join us as we unravel the mysteries and celebrate the wonders of our world. Good evening. Hey, what's up, world? Dan Dillman here with the Dan Dillman Live Podcast. And this is my first live using some pretty advanced software. And so I'm really excited. And I can't thank you enough if you are watching. And of course, we'll be waiting for folks to join and to interact and be a part of this live broadcast. So hopefully you know that I am all about history, mystery, unexplained phenomena, and everything in between. And that's what this show will be about. I will, in the future, of course, this is my first, I even kind of consider this my beta show, my episode 1, where I will be your main guest tonight. But I do have a friend who will be joining us to discuss and share one of his unexplained phenomena experiences. And so I'm excited about that. I want to make sure to tell you that some of you may know me only for the history and mystery and treasure hunting, and others may know me from some other background. So I hope that this podcast actually, I don't hope, it's going to. I'm going to share aspects of myself that you may not know. So I don't know what you expected tonight, but you're going to definitely get lost treasure. I'm going to give you an update. I've made myself a few little cheat sheet notes, bullet points. I'll share a little update on our personal family treasure adventure. And, I don't know if I'm able to. Matter of fact, let's do this. Yes, I see some. Okay. I see Giovanni. Gigi is saying, "What's up, Uncle Danny and Aunt Gina?" So I do see that. So that's awesome. Gigi, where are you seeing this? Is this on Facebook with you? Well, we'll wait to find out where she's watching from. And I have my laptop to the left of me. So anyone on YouTube watching this, you can leave some comments and I will try to pay attention every once in a while so that I can respond to your questions. Now, I'm going to be giving away some cool stuff today. Someone's going to win a hat. One of my hats with my Thunderbird logo on it. And I've got a few other giveaways that we'll be doing on the show. So hopefully you stick around to watch long enough and we'll figure out how to do that. So, like I said, we will be improving upon this wonderful podcast and show with amazing guests that I'll be having coming on in the future. I believe next week, Kevin Hoagland, who was also on the History Channel series Lost Gold of the Aztecs, will also be joining me next week. And I'm hoping to have Michael Freehawk join me next week as well, so we can talk about crop circles and UFOs and health and bioengineered food. Michael's all about that, an expert in that field, many fields. And so we'll be doing that. Let's see. What else did I want to share with you? So, like I said, I'm going to talk about some things that you may not normally talk to Dan Dillman about. I'm going to talk about some headline news. I want to talk about some national news. I'm going to talk about the president, Trump. We're going to talk about that really quick. And one thing I want to say is when I start talking about politics or religion, of course, my wife told me, don't you dare talk about any politics or religion. People are going to hate you or they're going to love you. And I said, you know what? People hate me or love me already. So this is okay. But I've kept, unless we've had a private conversation about my political views, you probably don't know them and haven't heard them. You may have suspicions, but hopefully I can set the record straight when it comes to that. So we're going to talk about some national news, which is Donald Trump. And also in San Leandro, there's some local news about some of our local politicians. And I'll be touching on that, today, just a little, very little. And throughout my shows, very little. Politics is definitely not one of my favorite things to talk about. But I think it's important that everyone is able to share their opinions in a civil manner with respect. And if we can't do that, well, then we don't need to talk about it. And of course, you don't need to watch if you're not digging the peace and unity vibe that I'm on. And that's really, for those of you who do know me, should know, somehow, some way, I would like us all to get along, even if that means let's not talk about certain subjects. So, why don't we get that over with really quick? All right. And Gigi says Facebook, right on. And, I don't know if we have a bunch of viewers or not, but I'm sure this will take off because this is going to be one of the best podcasts in the world, right? Joe Rogan, look out. Another bald guy is coming to say hi. I'm just kidding. He doesn't need to look out for anything. He's a cool dude and appreciate him. All right, so this is all live and unscripted, folks, so you're getting it. Real quick, let's talk about the president, Donald Trump. He's clearly our president now. Whether anyone says you're not my president, he is my. I don't care about any of that. Whether you were a Biden supporter or a Harris supporter, guess what? I support you. If you were a Trump supporter, or I support you. If you didn't like any of those people, I personally, I support you. It's not how I feel about it. I'll tell you how I feel about it. Is that I trust a higher power. If you don't know this already, I am a believer in a God beyond God, not somebody sitting on a chair judging us. And here we are talking about religion a little bit, but not really. I like to say it's spirituality, but call it what you want. I believe in a God beyond God. And that means that this God that I'm talking about is beyond quantum physics and ether and man sitting on a chair. Anything we can conceive in the ideas are just limited ideas of that which we call God. Heck, you'll probably hear me say cosmos. Kind of means the same thing to me, this ultimate, unfathomable reality that we have all sprung from. And see, I can get lost in my own thoughts about what I wanted to tell you. And that is, I believe in a higher power. I believe that when Joe Biden was president, the higher power has a part in it. And Joe Biden was meant to be our president at the time. Let's see, is anyone ringing in? Make sure to feel free to throw a chat. I'm going to bend down and look because it actually lets me know if I'm got people watching. So Donald Trump is president now, and bottom line is the higher power has decided that. Yes, people voted, but I believe that in a higher power, and that anyone in that position is meant to be in that position at the time. And that's what it is. So hopefully you support the country you live in to a certain degree, that you want your neighbors and everyone, whether they're originally from here or not, and you want them all to be prosperous and to have a place to live, food to eat, and the pursuit of happiness. So that's what I'm about. And I'm just letting you know, the reason I'm even bringing up Trump is because it's not even about him being president, but I had to throw that out there, is because I've never invested in the stock market. And I have missed so many boats. Bitcoin, Apple. I swear I remember when Apple stock, and I've been an Apple fanboy forever. And Apple stock dropped to like $6, I think, at one time. It might have been late 90s or early 2000s. And I was like, man, I just need to spend a couple $1,000 and buy some Apple stock. And most people I knew were hating on Apple and saying, oh, they're going out of business. And some of my friends and I would argue back and forth, that Windows was, the dark side. And I would say Mac was the Jedi's. Anyway, I missed that boat. I didn't invest. There's so many opportunities that have come and gone that I didn't invest in, because I have always pretty much held the mentality is that, man, I don't believe in the stocks. I don't trust the stock. But I was always looking at it from a very limited perspective, meaning I was only thinking about that moment, that day. It's kind of a good thing. It's kind of how I am in general. I am all about living in the moment, the present moment, right here, right now. I find it to be a far better place than living in the past or living in the future. But when it came to stocks, as time passed, man, did I realize I could have been a hundred millionaire, billionaire many times over and helped people with my money, because that's all I do is give. At least I try to. And it would have been awesome. So I was sick and tired of missing a boat. And my brother, Jason, which many of you, hopefully some of you do know who Jason is, I begged him to come on the show today because he is so damn funny. And he just makes me laugh. And then together, it's just crazy. And it gets a little off the hook when we're together, talking crazy or sharing stuff. But the laughter, the pure laughter and joy that comes at least out of me, and I believe with him too, when we're talking and touching on subjects, is just hilarious. So Dillmans are very serious people when we're treasure hunting, but we're also very, very funny guys too, and very loving people, but also with the serious and all the other stuff. So Bitcoin. My buddy Wayne, matter of fact, he's a Facebook friend of mine, but before we were Facebook friends, he's someone from San Leandro. I won't even say his last name, but his name is Wayne. He even did a talk at one of my theaters 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, about Bitcoin. And he was telling me, Dan, you've got to buy Bitcoin. You've got to invest, man. Just buy some and trust me, down the line, it's going to turn. It's going to be worth so much money and you're going to be so happy you did it. Another boat that I missed. So Bitcoin came and went. I just want to see if there's any... Let's see here. Let's just type this. All right, just in case. So I missed a Bitcoin thing. It's just ridiculous. But my brother called me and said, hey, so we missed a Bitcoin train to have that chance of being super rich. And by the way, I'm not giving any investing advice whatsoever. Hell, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with it, but I'll say this, is that I bring up Trump because he came out with his own Trump coin, Trump meme coin, digital currency. I guess just like there's Doge and there's Bitcoin, and so there's all these other ones. So my brother calls me up and says, "Hey man, Trump just dropped a coin, and we need to buy some because we, and of course normally I'm like, hell no, I don't want any part of this, but I know I've missed the boat so many times." When it came to these investing opportunities, I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. And so we went to invest $500 each. Now, when the stock first came out, it was like 20 or 30 cents or something. And we were willing to spend $500. It took us so long because we haven't invested before. We had to figure out the app to get, and then even I'm a techie guy. And even once we figured all that out, the damn banks were stopping us from transferring some money into the account to make the purchase, to buy some of these things. So it came out, whatever. By the time we were able to buy it, it was like 25 or 26 bucks. What? Bull, right? But we still spent the 500 bucks on it, and we'll see what happens. But because it took so long, we could have been millionaires, I think. I didn't do the exact math, but I figured 500 bucks or 1,000 bucks when it was pennies, it would have worked out for us at a certain time. Maybe not, because I haven't done the math, but it sure would have been better to buy at 30 cents. So what I'm getting at is I've finally stepped into making a few, call it stocks or digital currency investments, and I've decided to finally do that. And I'm taking a new look because I've missed the boat so many times that I'm at least now open and willing. So that was the whole reason that I brought up the president stuff, and you had to hear all my other stuff. And, so that's why I brought it up, because of the Donald Trump meme coin, Doge coin, and XRP. So apparently everyone and their mother is saying to get this XRP thing, and of course Bitcoin. So me and my brother did it together. We made a few investments in some digital currency, and we'll see how it works out. But I'm not tripping off how it goes up and down the day. Apparently we doubled our money the first day or first 24 hours, and then it went down and went up. I was looking at that stuff and saying, this is too stressful. Who in their right mind is going to actually sit here and pay attention to this nonstop? If you're doing that, knock it off. It is too stressful, unless you're looking just to make a quick buck, I guess. But for me, I turned off the notifications because I'm going the long game. Let's see what happens. Will I lose my money, or will we win? I will give you this tip, because the tip was just given to me. I was told by my buddy Wayne, who I hope he's watching this and actually makes a donation to me of a Bitcoin, because I think he's got a lot of them. I could be wrong. But he says it's going to go to 500,000 bucks. And right now it's like 100 and something. I didn't look today, but so I guess if that happens, there's still potential to make money there. But some of these other digital currencies are pennies, man. Pennies. And so you might want to pick one that resonates with you. But at the end of the day, I think it's like gambling. It is like gambling if you're going to look at your phone or look at your investment nonstop multiple times a day. It's like sitting in front of a slot machine. So for me, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. My spirit's not down with that. So I'm going long haul and just picking a few things. So the other reason I mention it, if you've got an inside tip, a legal inside tip to share with me, please DM me or email me and tell me which one to invest in, and I'll consider it. And I'd appreciate it if I can win big. And then I'll share with everyone else watching as soon as I do it. But once again, no investment. I'm not telling you what to invest in. I'm not giving you any advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And I want you to know that. All right, so the other local news, man. And I may be talking on future local news in Utah. For those of you who know me, some of you may know, some of you do know, some of you may not know, that I bounce between southern Utah and California on a regular basis. We do a lot of our adventures in southern Utah, here too, but I just have a love for southern Utah that really, because of my grandfather and uncles bringing me as a kid, and it was so magical that it's still that way for me today. So I may even bring up some local news when it comes to southern Utah, and I will share a few things. But I want to talk about local news in the East Bay. I'm right now, my other headquarters is basically Oakland, California, San Leandro, California. For those of you who do not know, I was born in Oakland, California, and I was raised in San Leandro, Oakland, Hayward. I grew up in Hayward too, so I rep Hayward. And just the East Bay, Castro Valley, San Lorenzo. Matter of fact, I've got to give love to all of those East Bay cities: Oakland, San Leandro, San Lorenzo, Hayward, Castro Valley. I think I said San Lorenzo too. Lots of deep roots and ties to the East Bay. And some local news is a really good guy that I didn't like at first. His name is Brian Azevedo. When years ago he came on the scene, he's a city councilman, San Leandro. You may have seen him in the news recently. I haven't talked to him. Um, and maybe he'll catch this stream and know. I'm telling Brian, stay strong, stay humble, and hopefully the truth comes out and everything's fine. And what you're not hearing, folks who are listening, is, unless you saw it on the news, apparently the FBI raided his home recently. And I feel so bad for the guy. It's all tied, apparently seems to be tied to the Oakland scandal with Mayor Tao and some kind of Vietnamese developers and that kind of stuff. And I see some of my San Leandro folks tearing into Brian and making fun of him and saying this and that. But being someone who has been politically prosecuted before myself, it's a long story for another time. I really am compassionate to anybody being politically prosecuted or investigated or any of that kind of stuff. And hopefully you will keep the mindset, because if it happened to you, I would hope you would want people to think you are innocent until proven guilty. And I'll say this, even when you're proven guilty by a court of law, doesn't always really mean that you're guilty. And unfortunately, I've had personal experience, and I know people who have personally been victims of the system and of corrupt people. And it's sad. It's sad because it shouldn't be happening in America. I agree with that. So that's it. I want to give a shout out to Council Member Brian Azevedo. Tell him that I believe in your innocence. And I hope that's what the end result is that you're just caught up because you went to Vietnam at the same time. And I think it's okay that people talk about it, but hopefully they talk about it in the right light, that you are innocent until proven guilty. Give that guy at least. What's up, Earl? I see you, brother. I see you. I just seen it. Hopefully I'm responding fast enough. I love you, man. It was Earl's birthday. Earl Miranda and I go way back. His family has been world renowned locally for their music playing. And when we were kids, Earl's family didn't always let me and Earl mess around and play no music. So we said, we're forming our own group. And we did that. So anyway, love you, Earl. Thanks for watching. So anyway, when it comes to Brian, God bless you, brother. May everything work out for you. You're still our council member here in District 2, where the historic Bow Theater is. You've been a great supporter, and hopefully your colleagues will respect the fact that you're innocent and that everything will work out for you. So once again, this is probably not any kind of talk that anyone coming to listen to me thought that they were going to hear. Yeah, so that's what I want to say about local politics. Why don't we, because I don't know how long my guest has to stick around. I believe he's got some work to do. So I want to bring someone I've known for years, actually. And let me put this out there. If you want to be on this show with me, then please make sure to email me. Go to my website and reach me through dandillman.com. Go to the contact page, or send me an email, info@dandillman.com, or hit me up on social media, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or my YouTube. Hopefully you're following me and subscribing on YouTube, following me on my Facebook pages, because really I do believe that I've got some cool stuff to share and that you may be into it. And if you're into it, then let's do it together. Okay, so where was I? See, I already got lost because it's what I do. I'm lost in my multi-dimension thoughts. Dan, that's a whole... He's probably laughing at me right now going, Dan, you're bringing me on. So my good friend, Dan Buchalter, and I'm probably not saying it right, Butchalter. I've always butchered his name, but let me bring him on. He's going to share with us his personal experience with kind of unexplained phenomena in energies. And so let's give this a whirl. Let's see if I can do this correctly, and we unmute him. So everyone, welcome Dan B. Dan, can we hear you? It says guest muted up. Guest has muted himself is what it says.
Me say hello again.
There you are. We hear you, brother. We hear you.
Okay.
So, Dan, first of all, how long have we known each other?
Oh, must be 20 years. Easy.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
longer than that.
probably longer than that.
When
Um,
when did you have that business on, was it Llewellyn?
oh,
How long
dude,
ago is that?
92, 93, 94. When I started, early 90s.
Yeah,
Early
well,
90s.
that's 30 years, right?
Yeah.
90, 100.
Yeah. So a lot of
A
people
long
don't,
time.
yeah. And a lot of people probably don't know that, at a time, I'm still techie and still do stuff. Had an Apple, Mac, and PC repair company as well as another one of my, we'll call it side hustles, but really businesses to where I fixed Macs and PCs, and that's where we met, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Huh,
so you saw my my post that I was going to be doing this
right.
podcast. I super appreciate you for reaching out to me because you had a really interesting experience,
Yes,
and
yes,
you
I
wanted to
did.
share it. So I share it with everyone. Let's hear it.
Sometime in the early 2000s, my wife and I were attending a business training in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And this was within a couple of years after an unfortunate terrorist type bombing of a building called the Murrah building, in which a lot of people, including a lot of children, were killed. And everyone at first was saying, oh, it's those Arab terrorists. Well, it turned out it was a homegrown terrorist with his own agenda. And that's unfortunate, but that's how that happened. So we took a little side trip a few blocks away from the convention center we were at to where there's a memorial. And we were at the top of a hill, and the memorial was down at the bottom of that hill, and there was a staircase. So my wife and I started to descend the staircase. And on the first step going down, and I want to make an analogy. A lot of you probably have seen what I still consider the first Star Wars movie, and there's this scene where the leading character, Obi-Wan Kenobi, he suddenly reels with shock, as if he's taken a kick to the gut. And they ask him what's wrong, and he says, "I feel a tremendous disturbance in the Force." It was as if millions of people had suddenly cried out and were then silenced. Well, I wasn't thinking of that movie. I wasn't thinking about anything in particular, except I was about to go down and be with that memorial and then check out a museum next door. And I heard these screams in my head, and it felt like a gut punch. It was a very powerful emotional moment, and I grab a stair rail for support for a moment. And I've never had an experience anything remotely like that before or since, but I can still remember how it felt, 30 something years ago. And
Wow.
so after that, after I recovered for a moment, my wife and I went down to where there was a memorial park. We spent some time down there. It was pretty much just ourselves. And then we went into an adjacent building, one that had not been hurt in the explosion. It was like a rented truck full of explosives, and it basically tore off the face of that building. And it buried a couple dozen kids who were there in a daycare, along with a bunch of other people. A lot of people died.
Was this in the news at all? Was
Oh
this?
yeah, oh yeah. This is big news. It was international news. So this is not again the Murrah Murrah building. Just Google Murrah building bombing, and you'll find out all kinds of things about it.
Wow.
So we go down to this park, and then after we spent some time there, we go to a building next door that has a museum that had various, news items and relics and so on, all from that. And there was like a 3-minute video in which the building kind of shook to simulate what it was like to have been right next to that. And then we went to some other rooms, and in one room there was memorabilia about children. There were shoes lined up in display cases of the dead kids. And my wife turns to me and says, "We've got to get out of here." She could not take it, and we left.
Wow.
So that's a kind of a more quote normal unquote reaction to seeing the signs of a terrible thing, but to be hit by this mental blast of energy, uh,
Hmm.
I don't know what you call it. I'm just telling you how I experienced it.
And did you hear? Did you tell me earlier you heard like it's like you
I
heard?
heard I heard screams. I heard screams.
Unbelievable. And when I say unbelievable, not unbelievable, because really there are so. I mean, this is just an example of the, I call it the moments the veil can be removed between time and space, right?
Mhm.
Because there's even scientists out there, and I forget who the scientist is right now, but where they talked about the Earth's magnetic field is a container of all memories and activities that have happened on planet Earth. And if there was a way to tap into the magnetic frequencies or whatever is happening, the frequencies within being held within the Earth's magnetic field, that we could play back events, much like the
Uh,
Vatican's chronovisor, I believe, is how they were using that technology. So it is on one hand, it's crazy, right? Crazy to have that experience when you don't sign up for it. I highly doubt that that's what you were expecting to happen, huh?
no expectations going in. None.
And have you ever had anything like that happen to you since?
Not before, not since.
Well, I will tell you this, that, and I don't know if how you'll receive this, but really that moment shows, right? You clearly have to be receptive to a certain degree, and I even say spiritually developed, whether consciously knowing or unconsciously, to have some of those experiences, right? To where that veil or your consciousness can be opened up to receive, those energies. Did After you had that experience, did you go do any research about it, or was because sometimes there's people trying to communicate
Mhm.
from from the other side, so to speak, trying to reach out, and that could have been a call to you.
It did not strike me that way. It didn't strike me as a group of consciousnesses that were trapped in some way and were looking for help. It was more like a replay of what it must have been like for them at that moment, that it had like soaked into the stones of the land and everything. And I
Wow.
was open to hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. And
Now,
there.
it might be a clue that I've been known to cry in movies since I was about 18 years old. I don't think a lot of people know that, except people who were there with me at the time. And yeah, I can get choked up about things that are presentations that are not necessarily designed to evoke that specific response, but it does happen.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm in your boat then, man, because uh, one of the first movies I really remember breaking down and crying was The Champ. Remember that movie, The Champ, with Ricky Schroeder? I think he was the kid. It was a boxing movie. I was a kid. I'm sure there was other movies,
Mm,
but the champ died, man. The
mm,
champ died, and it was his dad. And anyway, I remember just crying right there with Ricky Schroeder, man, crying, champ,
mm.
champ.
Oh,
Um, so well, I super appreciate you sharing your experience. What do you? By the way, what have you been doing? What are you doing for a living? A shameless plug. What are you doing nowadays?
well, there's two different things I do. I've been working with the company, the one that I was actually going to one of my first trainings for, that helps families and small businesses with legal issues and identity theft, recovery and protection. And the other thing I do is that, and it just sort of, before that, for decades, I was a litigation attorney and was just getting more and more burned out with it every year, because people would do things that I could not imagine doing. And no point going into details, but just the way people would conduct themselves, the kinds of claims they would frame. And this was long before social media, in which you could see outrageous claims every minute. But yeah, I was looking for something else to do, and I went to a seminar about home-based businesses, and I ended up entering the market of buying and selling stuff, and I still do that. A lot of it
What?
with a tech bent, and some of it, you know, as wide-ranging as books or assorted antiques, just a range of things. But the core of my business is primarily tech stuff, tech
Right.
test equipment, computer supplies, things like that.
Stuff that we probably met, that you were doing when we met. I mean, you
Right.
were doing all of the above. I remember you being a lawyer, an
Uh-huh.
attorney, and I remember absolutely you being a techie guy too. So we've
Yeah,
always
I sold you a ginormous battery backup system, which I hope gave you good service for a long time.
you did that. I don't think that was one of the first times. That was more recent times. But
That
when I
was
say
when you were mostly when you were still regularly showing movies at the Bell.
yeah, yeah, it was definitely quite a while ago.
Mhm.
Um, but I've always resonated with you, man, and I've always appreciated it. I always told you. I don't know if you remember this, but I always told you you've got an awesome narration voice, man. You've got an announcer narration voice, and I don't know if you remember me
Yeah.
telling you that, but
Uh, Several people have, and so far no one has ever hit me with the old joke of "You've got a great face for radio."
for sure. Yep. Well, you're still handsome in my eyes, brother.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, all right. Was
Yeah,
there anything?
I can only aspire to have as little hair as you do. It'll happen eventually.
Oh yeah. Well, I basically at one point many moons ago, I said, it's time just to let it go, and I started hearing that Disney song, "Let It Go."
Well, that's what happened to the beard I used to have. I started to develop, it was, at the time it was black, and then suddenly these two little white spots appeared on either side of my chin, and I started to clip out the white hairs with the Swiss Army scissors. And I realized, the way this is going, there's going to be two golf ball sized holes in my beard, and it went away.
Happens to the best of us. I jokingly tell people I'm not bald. I purposely pull all of my hairs out to keep the women away. Of course, my wife swift kicks me every time I say that in front of someone. But so I figure that after this, I'll get a swift kick for saying it again. Well,
Well, thanks for having me on the show. I
well,
appreciate it.
thank you, man. You're a part of history, man. You're on my first Dan Dillman Live podcast, and I
That's
super
right.
yeah, I super appreciate you doing that. I've always resonated with you, man. I've always I don't know, felt a connection, and we don't need to talk for years, and I still, I
It
feel
just
good when we
comes together.
yes, and I appreciate you. So, all right, well,
I haven't seen your family in ages. We need to get together for lunch or something and
yes.
catch up on all that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, let's plan to do that. And by
Okay.
the way, if you happen to know anyone interesting or that may make a good fit to be on the show as a guest, let me know.
I will keep that in mind.
All right, brother. I think I'm about to say goodbye and let you go so you can get some work done because you did tell me that you
I got
had
to
some
do that.
important business to
Okay.
handle. So, all right, cool. Love you, man. Appreciate you,
All
and I will talk to you soon. And let's see if this thing disconnects or if we hear you talking to your wife in the background.
right.
All right. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed that conversation with Dan B. I definitely appreciated it. So, let's get into the next topic tonight. And by the way, I'm going to do my best to look down. That's why you're seeing me look down, looking for comments. I'm looking to the left. I'm looking to the right to see what may be there. Once again, I'm kind of your main guest tonight, but I will have some amazing guests. Tell me who you want to see on this show. What subject do you want us to cover? Um, and maybe you want to be on the show. And nothing is off the table. We can talk about almost anything. Maybe not for long, but we can talk about it. I'm sure I may have already pissed some people off by talking about Donald Trump. But you know what? I can't live my life worrying about what anyone thinks of me because if I did, I surely wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. I do want to say a few really important things. Is every moment in our lives, every moment is a moment to make a choice, to improve upon ourselves from the last choice we made. I am convinced for myself, not saying it's for you, but I'm convinced that the world I live in is a reflection of my inner world. And it's definitely the teachings of the sages of the ages, right? Of all the ancients. They taught us that within and then without. And so I just want to encourage everyone to make sure that you are looking in a mirror before you start talking about somebody else, and make sure that you're really not talking about yourself, because you just might be. And it's important for us to reflect. This is an amazing cosmic reality. Whether you believe that this is a holographic universe, whether you believe this is just it, this life, the material world is it, it's still marvelous and amazing. Whether you believe in God sits on a throne judging you, whether you believe in the universe as intelligent and alive, or if you don't believe anything, it's still a magical time and an incredible blessing to have this experience. And let me tell you something. I've been through some crap in my life. I've had some really, really unbelievable things, that I would say were bad at the time. I've been on the threshold of death several times. Could be for another show when we're on that subject. But again, I am so grateful and I am so thankful that I have the opportunity to be here and to reach out and to connect. So I want to talk really quick about 2 shows I just watched, and I want to tell you, I give them both thumbs up. Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus, and nobody's paying me to say this. I'm not, this is not to get any benefit. I'm just telling you what I enjoyed. I super enjoyed Skeleton Crew. Why? Because the little kid in me enjoyed that show. Disney Plus, Skeleton Crew. If the little kid is still in you, then you will love that show. Hopefully. If not, hey, whatever. But thumbs up for me. And then I also want to tell you that I just watched The Gentleman from Moscow. And funny that Dan brought up Obi-Wan Kenobi, because Obi-Wan Kenobi, heck, I don't even know his real name, but the guy that plays Obi-Wan Kenobi nowadays it was the star of this series that I just watched, and I think it was on Paramount Plus. That's what it was. Anyway, totally not my vibe at first. Like, I'm weird and eclectic in the things that I want to watch at different times. I'm sure we're, anyway, many of you are probably the same. Different days, different ways. And so this day I decided, you know what? I'm going to watch this weird looking show. What do I care about Gentlemen from Moscow? So anyway, started watching it, really enjoyed it. Not something I would have watched as a kid, but hey, thumbs up. The Gentleman of Moscow. It's got Obi-Wan Kenobi in it. Thumbs up. So that's some of the other stuff I'll be sharing, just some general thoughts. Now, I want to get into UFOs and UAPs, right? And once again, remember, my show shall improve. I'll probably have stuff flying in, talking about, all right, now we're talking about UFOs. Boom. And have a nice little slideshow. I'm actually quite surprised that everything is still working as it should, but I'm keeping it pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Can you guys hear me out there? Give me some kind of, comment or like if you are out there, and if you can hear me, if everything sounds fine and everything looks good, because like I said, this is kind of like my beta run, my first time, and hoping you're digging my graphics and I'd like to keep it kind of mysterious in my background, and so hopefully you're digging that as well. But so let's see, we're on the same channel. We natives still have our ancient trade charts, and some go to Teotihuacan. Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much, Re-Indigenizing Minds. I appreciate you coming on and checking us out. I already said what's up to Earl, and of course Gigi, and I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone else, and I haven't. And you might be just watching and not interacting. Don't be scared. My volume is too low. Well, see, this is good that you said that. How can we increase that? Let's see. 1 second, then I'm going to make a move here and see if I can improve upon the audio. Let's see if we can't fix this. All up in this. Forgive me for probably sticking my fat stomach in your face. Is that a little louder? Is that louder for you? Let's see. And let's also do this. Your volume is too. Let me know if my volume is louder. I definitely turned it up a tad. Hopefully it got a little bit louder. The video above is one of those charts. Okay. The video above is one. I don't quite know which video you're talking about because I might not be seeing what you're seeing. Okay, cool. Sounds like the audio's up. Awesome, dude. Thank you. I say dude because I grew up in California. We call everyone dude. Guys and girls, it's hilarious. All right, so I want to talk about UFO sightings that we've been having. I've got a few notes here. Where is it? So many of you, I'm sure, have seen on the news about the East Coast sightings of drones and UFOs. And let me tell you something, it's been off the hook, not just on the East Coast, but all across the country, probably across the world. These sightings are increasing, more and more sightings, plus people have their smartphones. And so, of course, we're getting better image qualities, more people are capturing stuff. And in fact, I want to look on my phone here and see if I am missing out on any comments right here. Let's just make sure I'm not. And what will happen? Da-da-da-da. Okay, I can't tell. So, doesn't matter. But these sightings, these UFO sightings, these UAP sightings are increasing. And for sure, some of these are absolutely airplanes. Some of these are absolutely drones. But some of them are clearly not. I want to attempt to share my screen here with you. I believe if I hit this button, we should be good. You should still see me down in the corner. And so in Fresno, and this is from my Facebook page, the mysterious sightings that were over Fresno this past week. And I'm going to share this video really quick and give you guys a sample. Let's see if it shows up. Let's
There's
see.
some strange sightings over Fresno the past few days. One is a confirmed unidentified flying object caught on camera that the Mutual UFO Network called an interesting find. Fox 26 reporter Rich Rodriguez shows us the UFO and another sighting that had the flight tower and pilots talking Tuesday afternoon.
Friday morning while you were sleeping, our Fox 26 tower camera caught this light in the sky just after 4 a.m. As our camera pulls back, the light appears to be over downtown Fresno. We sent video links to Earl Grey Anderson with the Mutual UFO Network.
Where you see that object move at the clip that it moves, and then it's hovering again. That's very interesting, and no, we don't get a whole lot of those. That one I would probably actually give an unknown classification to, which is a UFO.
Anderson says there were no space launches on Friday. He adds that no unusual stars or planets could be seen either.
What I thought was very interesting about that second video is the clip that it suddenly moves. I'm not sure what distance we're looking at there. It wasn't light speed or anything like that, but that is awfully fast. You got an interesting capture there. Somebody saw what I would technically call a UFO.
4 days later, another strange sighting over Fresno. A private pilot had this exchange with the Fresno Tower Tuesday afternoon.
The pressure, Tomahawk 2 Tango. Do you have any drone activity on your radar by any chance? Tomahawk 5-2 Tango. We wouldn't pick up drone activity on the radar. We filter small stuff out.
A minute later, The tower contacts the Fresno police helicopter that's flying over the city.
I just got a report of a drone at 41 in Herndon, about 3 miles west of you, northwest of you, and if you can go check that out for me.
We're currently working a call. As soon as we're done, we'll head up there, people.
The tower then reports to pilots in the area a drone was spotted near 41 in Herndon. It was flying at roughly 3,000 feet. A second pilot called in to report the object was following him at 3,500 feet. The first pilot to alert the tower called in again with an unusual sighting miles away.
I thought I saw something over downtown, about 3,500.
You saw something over downtown at 3,500?
Correct. It was like a white object flying at Tango.
How long ago was this?
I just lost it right now.
We reached out to the FAA in Fresno for more information on Tuesday's unusual sighting by pilots, but we have yet to hear back.
All right, so let's get back to me here. Hopefully, could you guys hear the audio from that video? Hopefully you could, or else it would be pretty boring. So hopefully you heard the audio from that. So we have absolutely even investigated by MUFON and other folks that clearly this object was unidentified. Still doesn't mean that it's not some kind of terrestrial object from, some government actor, so to speak, our government, some other governments. But this activity is getting more and more prevalent. And it's what I predicted last year. I don't know, if you know that, but I definitely put out a social media post last year, probably beginning of last year. I don't remember exactly when, but letting everyone know there will be more activities in the sky. So eyes to the sky. See, a lot of us aren't even looking up in the sky. And if we're not looking up, you're surely not going to see anything. But I will say this, that unexplained phenomena, UFOs, and UAPs, as they like to call them today, are real. Are they from another planet? Are they coming from other dimensions? Or are they just government vehicles? Well, I have to tell you that when you do some deep research into this phenomena, now we've had Ancient Aliens on television now for quite a long time. I don't know how many years. But, that show has definitely helped to open a lot of people's eyes. And a shout out to Giorgio Sukala and all the guys that have been a part of Ancient Aliens. I've been in an episode as well. But a shout out to that team and the History Channel and all those guys, because it has really brought a lot of awareness to people. But what I'm getting at is the ancients have been speaking about the star people since before America was named America. And for thousands of years, the natives have known about these star people. Because the natives, as many of you know, I try my best to really share with you guys, and I want history books rewritten. Right? My Native American ancestors, possibly your Native American ancestors, were not savages. They were no more savage than our governments, talking about the governments. They were no more savage than our governments are today. There was war, there was conquering, and it's unfortunate, but that's what was happening. But they were in no way savages. They were in no way unintelligent. In fact, I argue and would say that they were more intelligent. They knew about there was no AI, and there was no computers, and there was no massive telescopes that we're aware of. And they knew of the stars, and they knew of their cycles. Their mathematics, the Mayan and Aztecs mathematics were crazy advanced. The Aztec civilization was so advanced, running water, schooling systems, colleges, schools, groceries, markets, just, bottom line is they were advanced, an advanced civilization, and they were way more advanced than Europe was at the time. They were way more advanced than the Spanish conquistadors that showed up. And many may not know this. I am of Aztec and Mayan descent, and I am also of Spanish descent. My grandmother, God bless her, and my grandfather, I love them both, on my mother's side of the family was from Cuba. Now, of course, I'm sidetracking a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not done with the UFOs yet. Yeah, you know what? I better stop now. I'm just going to say this, that, so I pull it back in. Well, screw it. I'm the guest today, right? I'm the guest today. I come from both sides. My bloodline is from both sides. And I was also born with 6 fingers on each hand. You're not going to be able to see my nubbies, but I was born with 12 fingers. Now, of course, Kaiser, in all of their wisdom, that doctor, boy, I think his name's on my birth certificate. He went and strangled my extra fingers off and thought that was okay. And I was told by my mother they were fully functional. And that she even kept them, I guess, for a couple years in some fluid. Anyway, my dad wasn't down for that. But bottom line is I also contain the bloodline of those ancient ancestors with 6 fingers, 12 fingers, 6 on each hand. And so anyway, my point is that they, the ancients, and I'm talking about from every continent, so not just my Native American ancestors, but all the ancient civilizations tell us about the star people and those that came from the star, whether they were from India or whether they were from China or Vietnam or from the Americas or from, European, Greece. The list goes on. The ancients spoke about the UFOs and these objects coming from the sky, lights in the sky, objects, star people, etc. And I believe their testimony way more than other people. So just looking back in history, we have so many examples and so many stories. They're called legends and myths, but in fact, it's their oral history. And their oral history says that these ancient star people were here, and they're the ones who taught them the advanced math and taught them the advanced engineering, taught them the advanced astronomy. So this is what they say where they learned it from is from the star people, from these enlightened beings who came from the stars. Now, does that mean interdimensional? Quite possibly. But the bottom line is interdimensional, another planet. Gosh, isn't a planet in a way another dimension? You're entering into an atmosphere. But anyway, there's also other dimensions for sure. All right, someone just said something. Washington, D.C. UFO, wave 1962 plus 13, 1965. American Midwest UFOs. Yes. Hopefully everyone can see the chat that's going on. Yeah, and I can run down the list too. We got Roswell. By the way, I want to tell you my theory about Roswell. First of all, I don't personally believe that any advanced civilization who is capable of whether interdimensional travel or traveling from other planets from distant star systems, I don't believe their craft can crash. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's their drone. They lost communication with it and it crashed. No, I believe any technology and any crafts that we as a human race have possession of, it's because they, the advanced civilization, wanted us to have it, right? They wanted us to have it because if they can beam in and out of dimensions, if they can travel star systems, if they have exotic technology and exotic metals and exotic everything, then why and how could they absolutely lose such a device? And even if they did, they can easily retrieve it in a blip. You better believe Star Trek and beaming things and interdimensional travel and all of this stuff is possible, because if we can think it, I promise you it is possible. We even now have scientists who are teleporting. I believe they're teleporting atoms. Maybe it's gotten better than that. So teleportation is going down, and if we're just touching on it to where we're transporting and teleporting atoms and micro, I'll just say atoms. If we're transporting that stuff, these advanced civilizations can do entire craft. So, just to let you know, I believe that our government has retrieved some of this footage. Matter of fact, there was something I was meant to show tonight. Apparently, some object. It was, some of you may have seen it already, an egg-shaped object. My brother said it looked just like Mork from Ork's spaceship. No baloney. So if it's a real footage, it looks like Mork from Ork has landed. And you can think that's funny, but that's what that object looks like. But I'm convinced that that technology is given to us to help us advance and to also become aware. So there's reasons for it beyond normal. Didn't just crash. The other thing that I was going to say about the UFOs and the UAPs is to add to the credence and belief. I believe Bob Lazar. So for those of you who know who Bob Lazar is, you don't need to go look him up. For those of you who have never heard of Bob Lazar, I highly encourage you to go look him up and check out his story. And I believe it started in about 1982 when it came to kind of, our attention. And Bob Lazar not only claimed to work at Area 51, whatever it was, Area 51, and was a scientist and actually working on reverse engineering a extraterrestrial spaceship. They tried to discredit this man, but they had forgotten to even, they couldn't delete. See, back then things were still printed, and they couldn't delete him out of the employee directory that was printed like an old telephone book. And so there are so many different things that really solidify that Bob Lazar 100% was telling the truth. Besides that fact, he also spoke about certain elements that were exotic elements that, quote unquote, weren't on our periodic table yet, that he told us about. He told us the names of it. And voila, those things are now accepted as truth and exist. So, Bob Lazar, that guy, pretty dope. And once again, adds to the credibility of the reality of these UFOs. And why do I say that? Because there are so many. I'm going to scroll to another video here, so I'm just going to prep it. This video, it's also on my Facebook page, and let's find it here. It was sent to me from an associate, a friend, my friend Jessica, from Southern Utah, and here it is. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. This should show up. And so in Southern Utah, this pinkish purple, because, depending on her camera and how it processes color, it's possible the colors could be a little, but this object is it's an amazing footage that she has captured, and I'm really, really happy to share it. So let me just click on, let's see what happens here. All right, so that was a video, and anyway, you can go to my Facebook page. It's public. And check this out. So this was a recent sighting. So we had the Fresno recent sighting. Then we had this happening in Southern Utah. And let me tell you something. In the area of Southern Utah where this happened is where I do a lot of my investigations. It's where we have a headquarters, so to speak. And there is always some paranormal supernatural, unexplained activity that is happening in this area when you have your eyes to the sky. There's been so many sightings recently out there. It's getting to be an everyday occurrence. And let's see. And then also, I want to make sure I talk about, why is it not showing? Let's see here. I want to show you what Robbie sent me as well from the Bay Area. And it looks like for some reason, let's see, I don't see it showing up. So that sucks. Now, this video was from Robbie, and for some reason, it showed for a second. All right, so I've got a problem trying to show the other video. But basically, my buddy Robbie, man, I've been knowing Robbie forever as well, too, hit me up on Facebook and said, Dan, and he's in San Leandro, California, East Bay. And he's been capturing many, many different unexplained objects in the night sky. I'm not there with them, so I'm not busting out my app, but I really encourage anyone who is witnessing these things, try to remember, it's hard, but try to remember to bust out your smartphone and capture this stuff. I would love to get a copy of that and share that here on my show. So have you had an unexplained experience? Have you witnessed a UFO, a UAP? Have you had any paranormal activity happen? Let me know. I would like to know, and I'd be happy to look at it. I'm also looking for places to investigate. I don't know if you know this, but not only am I a treasure hunter and mystic, third generation treasure hunter and blah, 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 but I am also a paranormal investigator. And I don't want to get too out there, with folks, but, we have over the years helped people remove even bad energy. We'll say bad spirits, but really bad energy from places. So if you have a place that you believe is haunted, or that you need to get rid of some of that negative energy, we have ways of cleansing and really cleansing that area and helping you out. And you could reach out to me. Once again, reach out to me at dandillman.com. Send me an email at info@dandillman.com, or reach out to me on my social media channels. And we're always looking for new places to investigate. That also leads me to share this with you. I'm in the midst of planning another paranormal tour. So I've done this before. We will be doing one in the Bay Area. I will be announcing it soon. And if you want to join us on that paranormal investigative adventure, then you'll want to make sure to sign up on my mailing list or reaching out on my website. We will also be doing a UFO, call it a tour, but really a UFO investigation. And we'll also be doing one in the Bay Area, and we'll be doing one in southern Utah. I've got some really cool places lined up for us to go investigate, paranormal and UFO. So get with me. It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy meeting up with other folks and doing it. And so make sure that I have your contact info so that I can reach out to you and let you know when it's happening, so that we can, so you can decide if you want to go. I said I was going to, I want to give away a hat. So I don't even know if I have anyone, I don't even know if we have anyone watching us. Who knows? Matter of fact, if you're watching, reach out. But basically, what I would love to do is to send one of these hats to somebody. So we're going to be doing this giveaway, and all I need you to do is to put a comment saying, I would love to have a hat, one of your hats. As you can see, it matches my Thunderbird. And if you would love to have a hat, I would love to send it to you, and I would love for you to win it. So what I would like for you to do is please share my Facebook, my YouTube, however you're watching today. Please share that with your community. Let people know that on Tuesday at 7 p.m. that we will be doing another podcast. Like I said, next week I'll have a wonderful guest on with us. And but right now, I want you to win a hat. So, and I swear I just saw something pop up. Let's see. I don't want to cause trouble for myself. And yeah, see, I can't click. Right now, I want you to win a hat. So, look at that. I'm causing a delay. So, you can win a hat. Make sure you comment. I want to see your comment. And then you got to send me an email, info@dandillman.com, or reach out through the website. There's a web contact. You can do it there. And in the comments, say that you want a hat. I'm going to pick a winner, and I'll even announce who that winner is. That's how we'll do that. In fact, I want to give away 2 hats today. So make sure you reach out to me. What was the other thing I want to talk about? I wanted to, because I don't want this one to be too long. I don't want to bore you to death. But I do want to make sure that you're enjoying what's happening. So I want to fill you in on my family and my treasure hunting adventure. So let me do this. We have been, for those of you who watched our series on History Channel, The Lost Gold of the Aztecs, you saw, if you watched, you saw that we discovered, this amazing cave. And inside of the cave, we discovered what appeared to be some form of entrance. And we were attempting to put a camera down and all that kind of stuff. And then it got flooded. Well, let me tell you, we have been continuing our investigation, right? Because for us, it's real life. And the show came around to follow us and to witness what we're doing. So our continued investigation, we have made some amazing discoveries. And I don't want to give up too much. If you were at the Moon Lake Gathering, or if you were at the Gold Country Paragon, then I probably shared some of that with you there. But I will say this, we have made some new, amazing discoveries. Absolutely amazing, in my opinion. And we've just discovered something that I think has the potential to, bring the world press. And so I'm planning right now, we're mapping out when I can get back out to the location, because we're filming. And so we're working on a documentary that will cover a whole bunch of stuff. Really, it's going to cover some of our 3 Lakes adventures that we never put out, that we filmed the entire thing. That's early 2000s. It's going to pick up from our last documentary, Secrets of the Stone Tablets in Search of Montezuma's Treasure, that tells my family's origins and our 1982 major discovery. If you know nothing about that, it's free on my YouTube. You can check that out. But we're working on it. And of course, a documentary is a very difficult, undertaking, especially me, because I'm doing so many different things, but this documentary is super important. But what we're planning is we're trying to map out a week or 2 so that we can get up and finish the job at this one site, this one location, where I promise you, I'm not BSing you. Had to refrain from cussing. We have made an amazing discovery, and I'm so excited to get in. And what will we uncover? I can't tell you that yet, but that's going to be the whole process that we'll be filming and documenting. And what I'm getting at is this stuff is not cheap to do what we do. And the History Channel is not helping to offset any of our investigation, in a way. And I'm sure, much like those other shows, I imagine the History Channel is providing some resources. And that's not happening right now with us. This is all on our own. And so I am looking for a few, and I say this lightly, I am looking for possibly a few individuals who would like to invest is the wrong word. Sponsor would probably be the correct word, who want to help sponsor our next expedition, and who can talk to me offline. You can send me an email. So what I'm getting at is we are definitely open to a few major sponsors to want to, donate, sponsor our expedition, because it's not going to be cheap to have the cameramen there, and it's not going to be cheap for some of the equipment and protective gear that we need to have for what we're about to do. And once again, I will be happy to share that with a few individuals, and you'll find me the same way through my social media channels or through my email or website, dandillman.com. And so we are opening the door. But let me tell you something. Don't bother reaching out to me if greed and gold fever is on your mind or heart, because you'll bring more trouble and possibly death to us and others for having that type of mindset and heart. So, not saying you do. I'm just saying we're not looking for that type of person who wants to be a part of our legendary discovery. We absolutely would, anyway, I'm talking too much. Bottom line is we're open to that. And I want to make sure that, that you know that for us, right, anything that we find, first and foremost, if we're on private property, our relationship is where we don't even get to keep what we find. That our verbal arrangement is, and who knows what'll happen, is that it goes to some museums, or it goes, to the native tribes who once owned it. So this is not I'm not giving anyone the idea that, that we're going to go find gold and keep it and be rich. That's not what we do. We are uncovering history. We are trying and working to have history rewritten. We want to make sure that in unity, that our native ancestors, and even our brothers and sisters today, you, me, and everyone, that it is a unified situation, but that we are rewriting history the way that it should be represented. Not the way that the Spanish wrote it, not the way that our current American history books are. And don't get me wrong, I do love this country. I can't see myself living in another country. What other country, could I be doing what I'm doing? And my point is, though, is that we are not looking to get rich from discovering these treasures. We want to bring these treasures to the world, for the children, for the future, and for our ancestors. So, with that said, we've got some badass new discoveries, and I'm not playing when I tell you we have found something that needs to be cracked open. Period. I'm going to leave it at that. And you will eventually see, because it's all going to be documented. Let's see. I got some people. Knowledge is the real gold. Yes. And that's, I'm glad you said that. Chris Davis, I have a paranormal place I would like for you to investigate, and it's in the Crescent Hotel, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Well, you know what, Chris? We're going to have to get together and make that happen. I want to talk about the real gold, because you said it. It is the ancient wisdom. All those things I talked about earlier when I said that the natives were far more advanced than us. For us, Montezuma's treasure, for sure. Will there be gold and silver and emeralds and jewels? Yes, of course. But that's not what we seek. What we seek are the ancient records of Aslan or Atlantis. We believe truly that they are one and the same, or truly connected. Regardless, the ancient records of the ancients that are waiting for us to be discovered. And the tomb of Montezuma, is somewhere. Nobody has discovered the tomb of Montezuma. We believe we will find it in Utah. We believe that Montezuma, in fact, survived the Night of Tears, survived the lore that has been told, the stories that have been told that he was killed. When you do your deep research, you will know, and if you've listened to me before, hopefully you've captured this, that even when you look at the record of the natives and the record of the Aztec people and the record of the Spanish, nobody is clear. Sure, some say he was hit by a rock and died. And then someone else says, he was died. But actually, when you dig deep into the record, Montezuma didn't even die right away, like pretty much every show and every retelling of the history has kind of portrayed. They show he gets struck in the head with a rock and dies. That's not what happened. Even if he did get struck in the head with a rock, the true reports are that for 3 days he was dying. For 3 days, they tried to offer him help, but he would deny them. And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole right now because I'm actually looking to end this live stream for now. But the realities are that there is no monument for Montezuma in Mexico. There is no place that it is said that this is where Montezuma was buried. And I will even say, unfortunately, a lot of my brothers and sisters in Mexico, not everyone, but a lot of people have the idea that Montezuma was a punk and that they're mad at him today. We're mad at him. He gave in to the Spanish. No, that's what you have been told has happened. That's what they who wrote their history wanted you to believe. And so now some of you are reciting that same history. It is not true. And let me tell you something. They loved Montezuma. Montezuma was not an emperor, a king to be feared. He was revered. He was loved. This dude, for sure, I promise you, he was of a high spiritual integrity, and that he was a wise man, and he was doing and making tough decisions at a time of cosmic change, an end to the civilization as they knew it. And yes, he could have repelled the Spanish, and yes, he could have wiped them out, but it still wouldn't change the cosmic plan that he believed and his ancestors believed and our ancestors believe, and there has been written in the stars of the transitions that are taking place from fourth worlds to fifth worlds, and the fifth world we're in now, according to the Aztecs, into the sixth. So, with that said, the tomb of Montezuma is still waiting to be found. Not desecrated, because Montezuma knew one day it would be found. So I even want to say this, that it's not like we're looking to tear up a tomb or a grave, because that's not what Montezuma set himself apart for. He set it for an appointed time in the future, a cosmic time, a time of cosmic change, when we are leaving one age into the next, when the people would need this technology, this wisdom, and it would be available to us. For those of you who are tuned in to the cosmic, amazing energy and rays that are coming through the Earth's atmosphere, penetrating and emanating around you right now, change is at hand. It is here. Whether you believe in the stars and you're looking at leaving Pisces and entering into Aquarius, let me tell you something. The change is here. It's cosmic. It's wonderful. I laugh because I'm hearing golden age from Donald Trump. He may not even know. His people may not even, maybe they do know. Once again, a lot of these people at these levels of our government and elites are aware of the cosmic messages and cosmic things going down, and they don't tell everybody. But speaking of the golden age, I am convinced, and matter of fact, I encourage you to be convinced. The golden age is upon us, and we can have that. And it could be a place that is wonderful and good for the entire world, but we've got a choice, and we've got to make that choice on an individual level. Do I want to be full of hate, envy, anger, regret, jealousy, or do I want to forgive first myself for whatever I've done in my life? Secondly, my neighbor, meaning my neighbors, my friends, my family. It doesn't mean you need to hang out with these people that you can't possibly stand to be around. But I am telling you this, that we need each and every one of us to cosmically to be released from this psychic power that ain't even real, call it mortal mind, psychic energy, whatever you want to call it, of negativity. And I will also say this, that yes, we can absolutely survive and live and thrive in a world without negativity. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about opposites. I'm not talking about light and night, but I am talking about this psychic force that amazing spiritual individuals like Jesus Christ, Buddha, Lao Tzu, I can just run down the list of names of individuals, sages of the ages, who were capable of, destroying or setting aside this psychic energy that has wielded man against man. So you may not have signed up for this podcast. And once again, I am all over the map. I am a man of seasons. I am a man of many different hats, especially now that I lost my hair. And without a doubt, I feel that, and I've always known this, that I am here to share my message. And even if this message is received 100 years from now for someone, and they see this like a bottle in the ocean, messages in the cosmos, I just want to say to you that I believe that we can have the golden age here and now. And I want to believe that, and I want to think it, and I want to think that you're going to, how did I get sound from there? Interesting. Bottom line is this. I don't know you, but I love you. I may not want to hang out with you every day. You may not want to hang out with me, but I'll tell you what, we can all hang out. And so there's probably 10 other things I told myself that I was going to share with you. And I just got lost in my rant. Let's see, what are people saying? I don't want to leave without, I shot what time on Tuesday? All right, so I'm hoping that every Tuesday, I'm going to do my best, and I will, in the next day or so, I'll go ahead and schedule something. But let's say Tuesday, 7 p.m., that we are going live. I want you to be a guest on my show. Even if you come on to share something for a moment, I have the capability with this software. I'm using a software called Ecamm Live. I can bring you on as a guest. I'm going to have some dope people to interview and for us to talk back and forth. But then we want you to participate. Man, I want this to be a wonderful community to where we can, do what we're doing. Let's see what else was said. I want to make sure I'm reading. I don't want to... Aztec warriors were supposed to run out the conquistadors and not give them gifts of gold. Well, yeah, and Montezuma did attempt to give them some clay pots, a clay pot that was Quetzalcoatl's, actually. And when Cortez said, nah, I don't want this, trust me, Montezuma never for a moment believed that Cortez was a god. He knew straight up that they pooped and peed, and just like us, man, they were no gods. And Montezuma was not fooled. All right, what else? My tribe ate conquistadors when they tried to force us to build their churches. That's pretty awesome. Now, of course, I don't encourage violence, but you know what? They were doing violence, and you were protecting yourself. And I do believe that we have a right to protect ourselves. But hopefully, man. Man ruling man to their injury, and all the BS that we can turn on the TV or the news and hear. Let me tell you something. There's lots of good out there, a lot more good, a lot more potential for prosperity for everyone in health. And I'm going to say this, and let me say it now. So let me plant this seed with you. You are what you think. And I'm going to tell you something. You are absolutely 100% healthy. If you're watching this and you've got some aches and pains happening, did not those aches and pains come one day? Like, you were perfectly fine the day before, and all of a sudden now you've got an ache and pain. Well, guess what? That ache and pain will disappear just like it came from nowhere. It shall disappear from nowhere. How do I know that? I've been an experiencer of that. I've had something go, oh my God, what's going on? It can't be just because I went around the sun 52 times and all of a sudden now no. So I encourage you to eat healthy. We're going to talk about some bioengineering. As you can tell, I tried to quit this this podcast, but I'm still yapping. We're going to talk about eating healthy on some of these shows. So I'm going to say it now. Man, check the ingredients on what you're eating. My brother, once again, is the one I've always known. We've all known, right? Every one of us know, like, you're eating candy. That's not healthy for you. Certain candy, some probably is. Like, I love dark chocolate almonds. That'll be another story because there's something I want to share. But eating healthy is super important. The foods that we're eating don't have the nutrients, the trace minerals in them that we need. Now, some of you are way more advanced than me on this in the sense of practicing, right? I know it, but how much am I practicing? And I'm making a conscious effort to not eat bioengineered food, trying to pick organics all that I can. Now, my son bought me some donuts the other night, Hostess chocolate donuts. He knows I loved them. And of course, I looked at the damn packaging and bioengineered ingredients. I said, screw it, I don't want it, so I didn't eat it. And I encourage you to. My brother, who's extra hipping me to it as well, he has been focusing on eating non-processed foods and making sure that he's not touching any of the bioengineered and keeping things organic. He's been losing weight without trying. He's still eating. He even said he eats as much as he wants, but he is losing weight and looking good and feeling good. So that's my point, is that you look good and you feel good. And that all comes down to you are what you eat, right? Because we become one with what we eat. I'll share something with you that I do. We grow a few things, nothing like my brother does, and some kale and this and that. And when I'm cutting that kale, I'm telling it, hey, I appreciate you. We are about to become one. And because I'm gonna intake you, but we're gonna become one. So anyway, I think I started talking about particles and subatomic and all that, and I don't know if I ever finished what I was talking about then, because I'll try to be a little more precise. But if you don't care, I don't care. I'm down just to keep it rocking and rolling. Any last comments from anyone before we call this wonderful podcast, this beta run, episode 1, a wrap? Let me know what you want me to talk about. You want to know my opinion on something? I'm happy to tell you, whether you like it or not. World news, UFOs, lost treasure, paranormal. Once again, don't forget, the Dan Dillman Live Podcast. Looks like we're doing this every Tuesday, 7 p.m. For sure an hour. Could be longer, like today is clearly longer. So yeah, I've got no limits on it yet, and we'll try to make it happen every Tuesday. Hopefully help me grow this channel. Let's do it together. Let's spread the word. And let's talk about the things we want to talk about, because I'm telling you right now, there are amazing, amazing things happening in this world. Some great mysteries, amazing history, and even alternate history that we're going to talk about. And I guess all I can really say is kind of my sign off is, until we meet again, somewhere deep within the cosmos. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to go to dandillman.com. Make sure to share this with folks. If I was capable of being embarrassed about the things I say and do, then I'd be thoroughly embarrassed. But guess what? I'm not. And hopefully you have a blessed night, and we'll see you again. Don't forget to message me what you want to talk about, what you want me to talk about. Share with me some news. Send me some videos. Send me some images. All right, thanks. And I'm going to try to sign off. All right, peace.